Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great day. I am so sorry I cannot be in school today, but that does not mean we are not going to learn. So today what we are going to be learning about is Newton's laws of motion. And we already know a lot about Newton's laws of motion. We know that there are three, and we know that the first law states an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest unless acted upon by an external force. We also know that the second law is force equals mass times acceleration, and the third law is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Well, today what we are going to be doing is we are going to be taking a closer look at the second law. We are going to be focusing in on that second law. And as we focus in on that second law, we're going to be doing some math, and we're going to be breaking down how you solve how much force something takes to move, and also how much work it takes and how much power it takes. First, we're going to define some of these key terms. The first word I want to look at is acceleration. Acceleration is the rate or an increase in the rate or speed of something, and this is measured in meters per second squared. And I'm going to just symbolize that with a big 2 because I have trouble making little 2 on my computer. However, I want to mention that acceleration is different than speed. Speed is how fast something is going in a given instant. Acceleration is how fast something goes over time. So it's going to be an increase in speed or potentially a decrease in speed, which would be deceleration. Next is mass, and mass is an object's resistance to acceleration when a net force is applied. In other words, the mass is going to prevent an object from moving. Now, moving is interesting because we know things move, but we only know things move because we have a reference point. In other words, if we are in a big open desert and everything looks exactly the same, I am not going to be able to tell that something moves. So mass is going to slow down objects until they start moving. Once that object starts moving, well, it's going to keep going, and it might even go a little bit faster. So remember, mass is going to be measured in kilograms in this class. We're not going to be using pounds because pounds are going to be weight. And weight is a measurement of mass times gravity. And we're going to be getting into that a little bit later. But the next big word is going to be force. And force is the strength or energy necessary to get an object moving. And that's going to be measured in newtons. Now, force, the amount of force needed, depends on the amount of mass that you have. The greater the mass, the greater the force. In addition to that, if you want something to accelerate faster, you will need to apply more force, even if it has a lighter mass. And so what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be calculating how much force or how much mass an object has using word problems. And to do this, we're going to be using something called a formula triangle. So right now what I want you to do is I want you to locate a triangle that is on the worksheet that says acceleration, mass, and force practice. You'll notice that your triangle is blank. However, my triangle is filled in. Can you please make sure that you fill in your triangle exactly the way that mine is filled in? You'll notice that I have an F at the top to represent that the force is at the top, mass is to the left, acceleration is to the right. And we're going to be using this triangle to generate all of the different formulas for force equals mass times acceleration. When two things are next to each other in math, what do? You multiply, that's right. So what we're going to do is, because mass and acceleration are next to each other, we are going to draw a multiplication symbol between them on the line. So anything next to each other is going to be multiplied using this triangle. So even if this triangle, the letters in the triangle change, you will always multiply. When two things are on top of each other, what do? That's right, you divide. So I'm going to draw a division symbol over and under my line. And you're going to see why this becomes important in a second. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use this triangle to solve a problem. And we're going to use the first problem on your worksheet as an example. The first problem says, what is the acceleration of a 3 kilogram mass if a force of 14.4 newtons is used to move the mass? So we know a couple things. One of the first things that we know is the mass of the object. So we're going to write, and you should write this out as well, that the mass is going to be equal to 3 kilograms. We also know that the force in this problem is going to be equal to 14.4 newtons. What we don't know is the acceleration. So we're going to just put that as a big question mark in this instance. So I'm just going to say acceleration and write a question mark. And you should do that as well. So what we are going to do is we are going to use our formula triangle that you can see over here to figure out what the formula for acceleration should be, because what we are used to when we're talking about force and even that second law is this formula over here, force equals mass times acceleration. So we have to change this formula to be acceleration equals question mark. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is I am going to erase this A. And what I want you to do is I want you to cover up your A. And by doing that, what you will see is that now you are left with an F and an M. And you are left with an F and an M because F and M is all that you know. And so since you are left with an F, M, and an M, they are over one another. Since they are over one another, we are going to divide using F divided by M. So I'm going to write out that formula for you. So our formula in this problem is going to be A equals F divided by M. So force divided by mass. And then we're going to solve for this problem. Right now I want you to take a minute and try and solve for this problem yourself. Plugged in for force, my 14.4 newtons, and you can see I got that number from over here or up in the problem. I also plugged in for my mass, my M, 3 kilograms, because I got that number from here and also from my problem over here. And so then I'm going to divide and I'm going to discover that acceleration is equal to 4.8 meters per second squared. But what if, instead of trying to find acceleration, we are trying to find force or mass? Well, we can use the same exact triangle. So if we're trying to find mass, instead of covering up or erasing the A, I would cover up or erase the M. So I'm going to go through and do that right now. So I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to erase my M and I'm going to rewrite my A. And you should realize that there's a spot to plug in these formulas. So I'm going to change this to say F over A. And so since it says F over A, my formula when I am trying to find mass is going to be M equals F divided by, or force divided by, acceleration. And the one that we know really well is force equals mass times acceleration. But let's say you're having a massive brain fart and you can't remember it. Well, you can still use the triangle to help you figure it out. Instead, however, you have to erase the F and you have to put that M back in. So I'm going to erase my F again and I'm going to put the M back in. And since you have your F covered up, what you have left right now is M times A. So we're going to know that F equals mass times acceleration. So force equals mass times acceleration. You may need to watch this video one more time to really get this concept, but once you have the formulas written down, it's really about plugging and playing. So if you need to watch the video one more time, go for it. If not, go straight to the math worksheet. Don't forget there's another video to watch and there's another worksheet to complete. I hope you're all being good for the sub. Have a great day.